Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Had Time Manipulation, Telekinesis and Telepathy. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode over an anime symbol of What If Naruto Was Neglected with Chaos Magic guys. So go ahead, check out that and yeah, enjoy. And stay tuned for the rest of the What Ifs coming your way. Yes, if you're new, I did have 3 more channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down in the description, so without further ado, or wasting any more time, how about we jump right into this brand new episode, shall we? Let's begin now guys. So the last part that we left off, his name was Naruto Uzumaki, as it was his birthday today, as he headed towards the forest, where he saw a firework in the far distance. Naruto could hear a voice in his head. It's been some time now. Her name was Lucy, as she was the one that did that for him and his birthday. There was a lot that Naruto knew about himself, and a lot that many people did not know. To everyone else, he was a loner, someone that stick by himself, someone that didn't really talk to anyone. He was just always by himself. However, he did have a friend. Her name was Lucy. She was always there for him, as he never met her physically, but she was always in his head, as Naruto was so grateful for her. She was the one that taught him how to block out the others. However, that was after he found out that he was a host of the 9 Tails, which Lucy helped him through. He was also able to dive into Hiruzen's mind after 3 years of learning how to control his abilities, which he found out that his parents were Minato and Kushina Uzumaki. As Naruto was shocked, the 4th Hokage was his father. His mother's dying wish was for him to take care and look after him, but the man has not lived up to his promises, not at all, as Naruto had kept the information to himself because he didn't trust Hiruzen. The only people in the village that he really trusted was the Ichiraku family, as they were always nice to him, and their thoughts were always one of good deed towards him. Naruto even had a crush on someone in his class, but after reading her mind, he soon come to realize it was not a possibility. However, he did have a strange friendship with Sasuke Uchiha. It was a few years back when he found the boy. Naruto thought that Sasuke was about to off himself. However, it was just the dark thoughts in his head because of what happened to his family. Having successfully evaded all of Sasuke's strikes, as he used his mind ability to read everything that Sasuke would throw. From then on, they had a strange friendship. Yes, but no one in the academy knew about it. However, they did talk on occasions. When the day finally came, as Naruto was there to graduate, he failed the test, feeling so disappointed in himself, as Mizuki showed up. However, Naruto knew that he was lying and he was plotting to use him, but Lucy told him to do it. He was confused why she wanted him to do it, but she told him to do it, as he didn't understand, but he did it. Upon arriving to the forest, Naruto met Iruka, who only wanted the best for him, which led to a rather violent battle, where Naruto thought Iruka was going to die, and for the first time he teleported. Yes, he teleported and removed Iruka from the danger. Mizuki was not sure what happened as Iruka did not see it. However, at that moment Lucy arrived. For the first time, despite never seeing her, Naruto knew that it was her, as she took Mizuki away. This was all reported back to the Hokage, who apologized to Naruto. Naruto asked him if there was any more secrets. However, Hiruzen did not reveal anything about his parents, which made Naruto lose hope in fully trusting him ever. As the day go by, Lucy did not show up until a week later, as she seemed to be sad. However, it was the first time that Naruto was able to actually see her, as she was here to explain a few things to him. She had blonde dull hair and green eyes. She told him that he was a part of a group known as the People of Tomorrow. They had a special genetic that grants them very powerful abilities, and he has just experienced using two of them. And that was his telepathy, and also his teleportation as well. She told him that there was a group out there that was hunting people like them. That is why she didn't want him involved. As Naruto saw the sadness in her eyes, but it wasn't something that she was ready to explain to him. She told him to not use any of his abilities, as she would be here to speak to him soon. Until then, he must lay low. So that is what he did. Being placed on Team 7, Naruto and Sasuke were already friends. Sakura kinda felt left out. However, Naruto invited her over to get in the mix, which made her happy. As Team 7 was coming along well, their battle against Kakashi worked within Naruto's favor, as he simply used their traits against them: Sasuke arrogance and Sakura desire to please Sasuke. With his mind ability, Naruto was able to accomplish a lot. However, the problem started when Naruto desired to see or even hear Lucy again, as he was not getting anything. Unknowingly, he teleported right in her base, where he was attacked by a man. But Lucy came in and stopped him. She brought Naruto back to the village, as she apologized to him. As she pulled out a syringe, he tried to move, but she pressed him down with a simple wave of her hand, as she wanted to cry. She told him that she did not want him to die. This was the only way, as she plunged a syringe into his chest. Naruto was in agony for a moment, but it passed. But what truly happened was Lucy taking away his abilities. As Naruto found himself shocked, he could not hear her thoughts anymore. He could not do it anymore. Even Sasuke noticed that Naruto was different, as Naruto was depressed. Why would she do this to him? But as much as he tried, he didn't hate her. He just wanted answers. However, he was not getting any. Team 7 went on missions until the day finally came when they were escorted outside of the village. A man known as Tazuna. It turns out the man had lied to them. If he had his abilities, he would have been able to know that. Naruto and Sasuke working together was able to free Kakashi once he got caught by Zabuza. As they headed towards the island, Inieri was speaking to Naruto, as Naruto had tried to control his emotions, having gone through a lot lately. He also met Haku as well, in the forest, as he asked him about his precious people, as Naruto was at a loss after everything that he has been through. When the day finally came, as the battle started to take place, Sasuke ended up jumping in the way, risking his life. In that moment, Naruto lost his composure, watching Sasuke die in front of his eyes. A violent eruption happened, as Naruto did the impossible. He reawakened his abilities, but what happened was the entire globe froze. Yes, he froze time. However, the only ones that weren't affected were the people of tomorrow, as they were still able to move and witness the world while it was frozen, as Lucy could sense it. Naruto, she said as she heard his scream. So yeah guys, basically let's left off, you guys can switch across the play store for yourself so to be in this new episode. We begin this episode right after Lucy first revealed herself to Naruto, when she told him that she had to leave. Upon leaving Naruto that night, something urgent happened, as we find Lucy in tears. Ahead of her was kids, two of them, on a metal table with a sheet over their head. They were no longer with the living. Lucy looked to her left as a girl a bit younger than her was crying. Lucy was 18. The girl was 15. She tried to hold back the tears, but they just kept on flowing. As she looked down towards the two corpses, her mind immediately ran on Naruto, hating that he would possibly face the same fate of this, and that tore her up inside. Time skip. Lucy sat by herself in a room, and she was sitting on a bed. The place was quiet and empty, as she was just looking at the wall. The people of tomorrow, they were born with a rare genetic disorder that grant them special abilities that no other possess if they did not possess the genetic disorder. Since she came into this world, after finding out about her powers, she's been hunted just like the others. No one was safe. It doesn't matter how old you are, what gender you are, nothing. The people that were coming after them only desire one thing, and it resulted with their death. Time after time again she watched comrades, newborns, fall. There was a knock on her door. A man entered. He looked to be early 30s. He possessed dark hair and dark eyes. He had a nasty scar from his nose going down to his right cheek. Given the depth and deepness of the scar, it seemed like someone had slowly did that. Lucy, he said, looking towards her. Did you bring it? She asked. I know that you're upset, but what you're planning on doing? No, don't give me that, she yelled at him. They're kids. I can't watch another die. But Lucy, what you're doing, you're not just taking away a part of him, you're taking away his identity. And I don't care, she yelled. I prefer that he hates me, that he despises me, than die. I've told you about his life. Because of the tenet that he bears inside of himself, his life has been hell. And it's just started to look better for him. He's on a team now. He started to make some good friends. But if we don't do something, they're going to find him. And then they're going to kill him. I can't watch that happen to Naruto. So if it means him despising me until the day that he dies when he's good and old, then I don't care. You and I both know that there's other challenges to being a ninja, especially. Not to mention that he's a Jinchuriki. Let that be it then, she said. I won't allow this curse, because that is what it is. As powerful as we are, we can't live without being hunted by those monsters. And I'm not about to uproot Naruto's life and change everything in his life. So, give it to me, she said. He released a breath. I've always trusted your judgment. So if you believe that this is the right way, then fine. As he handed her the syringe. But no, once you do this, he can never ever awaken ever again. I know. Lucy snapped her head to the right, and so did he. He's here, Lucy said. It was in that moment that Naruto had teleported to the base. As Lucy rushed down there to find Naruto, where she teleported him back to Konoha and inject him with the serum to strip him of his abilities. Weeks passed after that. Lucy had not been the same. Naruto's desperate cries, trying to understand why she was doing this to him. It haunted her, but she preferred that way than his lifeless corpse on the ground. She preferred that way. She would take all the blame. She would be the monster if it meant keeping him safe. At the moment, Lucy was training with a young prodigy of hers, the same girl. She had brown hair, blue eyes. As they had wooden blades, they clashed against each other as both of them were clashing, improving their physical skills, kinjutsu mostly. However, in that moment, the both of them paused. The young girl blinked in confusion as she noticed a bird suspended in the air. "What's that?" she said to Lucy. The next moment, they both gripped their head as they heard the scream. Lucy's eyes widened. "Naruto?" she said in shock. Meanwhile, in that very moment, Naruto was releasing a blood-curdling scream. He finally snapped. After everything, Naruto snapped. Yes, his mind snapped. He was fed up with it all. First, the one person that he thought he could trust with everything took away his abilities. She stripped him of his abilities, and she gave him no explanation. And as much as he tried to hate and despise her for that, he just could not. But he started to make friends who were helping him through his depression despite not knowing it. They were there for him, teammates. Sasuke had been a friend even before this. And now, Sasuke just risked his bloody life to save his. If he had his abilities, he would have been able to predict this. He would have been able to know this. But now, Sasuke was dead. And the stress was too much. Everything was just too much. It was overwhelming, and Naruto finally screamed. And something that should not be physically or mentally possible. Naruto activated once again. That was what it was called. Their activation. The entire world froze. Time came to an utter stop. The fishes who had jumped froze. The waves of the water froze. The trees froze. Everything did. The psychic force that Naruto released shoot up and dissipated all of the clouds. All the trees were hit with the force, but because time had froze, everything was just suspended. As Naruto was not really focusing on that. He was not in a proper state of mind as he placed Sasuke gently on the ground. In that moment, time seemed to recover. Every single mirror had shattered. Haku was confused. What just happened, as he couldn't understand. As Naruto was on his feet, immediately, 3 needles dropped in his hand. He launched them, however, Naruto held his hand up, and they were covered by a blue glow. He stopped them in mid-air. He flicked his hand as they were sent sailing across the ocean. Naruto stepped forward without a single word. Haku held needles in both of his hands as he launched them both. However, Naruto blinked away as Haku turned. Naruto's fist connected with the mass, chipping away at it. He teleported once again as he backhanded Haku. Haku crashed in the bridge. Naruto teleported and grabbed him and threw him, before teleporting up in the air and stepping into his stomach. He grabbed his leg as he teleported down. Naruto then vanished as Haku crashed into the bridge. Haku got up, in pain, as Naruto appeared and delivered a punch. Another. He was just blinking away. Haku was being completely brutalized. The mask broke into tiny pieces. Blood was oozing out of his mouth. "You killed him," said Naruto. "He was my friend. I barely have any of that to begin with, and you killed him. You deserve the same fate." Naruto pushed his hands out as his power seemed to be moving to his will and to his control. Haku was thrown. The amount of force that he was thrown with as he bounced across the bridge, it was ridiculous. Both Zabuza and Kakashi fight came to a stop as Haku crashed at the end. They snapped their gaze as Naruto was walking. All the broken pieces of the bridge started to gather around him, pointing towards where Haku lay. As Naruto held his hand out, the support beams started to rip apart. The iron, the nails, the screws. Naruto held his hand up and a massive amount of debris, all of them deadly, was aimed directly towards Haku. Die! Naruto said as he launched everything. Zabuza saw Haku slowly trying to get up, and he knew if he did not do anything, his body moved on its own. Zabuza used his massive blade to knock away several of the massive debris, iron pipe, the nails, the screws. Haku slowly looked up, blood running from his nose and mouth. As Zabuza stood in front of him, he was completely fine. Zabuza had protected him. Zabuza had saved his life. However, when Zabuza turned, his body was littered in the debris that Naruto threw. A large piece of iron pipe from the side of the bridge had punctured his lung. His face was scarred and marred by nails and broken pieces of wood. He was a mess. He was bleeding like a faucet. Haku's eyes went wide. Zabuza-sama, he said, tears in his eyes. Zabuza fell as he caught him, the weight bringing him down. However, all he could do was hold on to him, trying to save him with the limited medical ninjutsu knowledge that he knew. However, Zabuza died, not even saying a final word. Before Kakashi could do anything, Naruto appeared behind Haku with a kunai in his hand. Haku turned and looked towards him as he seemed to accept his fate. Naruto was still not thinking properly, as he just brought it down without hesitation, ending Haku's life. Kakashi was confused as he looked to the spot where Naruto once was. Naruto was still not over it yet, as he was still so lost in rage, confusion that he hasn't even realized what he was doing in terms of using his abilities. That is when Gato and his man revealed themselves. Gato looked towards the two dead, hired guns that he brought here. He scoffed. Just as I thought, a waste of my money and a waste of my time. But it doesn't matter now, does it? Behind Gato was countless men, as his words aggravated Naruto. Kill all of them and then we're taking the village once and for all. Remembering what Iniri had said to him about this man, he started it all. He hired these two. It was his fault. He brought them here for the sole intention of hurting the people at Land of Wave. He killed the most precious person to Iniri. He starved the village. He left them to hunger and die. All because of money. All because he was a greedy, twisted individual. The world was much worse outside than he thought. And this man stood here with a smile on his face, now wanting his boys to kill the remaining members of his team. Sasuke was already gone, but Sakura was still here, and Kakashi. He refused. He refused to let them die. Naruto snapped his gaze upwards. Gato opened his mouth, however, in an instant Naruto was in front of him. I won't let you, he said. Naruto thrust his hand out as it slammed into Gato's chest. However, what followed was every single bandit being thrown. Their body had simply moved on its own. Naruto tossed them all into the sea. He then teleported to the end of the bridge. Naruto held his hand out as it started to glow, and the blue energy is right and then left. Naruto started to grit his teeth as his nose started to leak blood. It was at that moment that someone appeared. Kakashi blinked, as she simply appeared out of nowhere. The wind was rather heavy on the bridge, so he could see the person, features, and it was a woman. She stood there shocked as Naruto released a primal scream. Lifting both of his hands, Naruto brought up two massive waves. Both of them were controlled and covered by the blue energy coursing around them. Gato and his men who were in the dead center as they start to fall. Naruto dropped his hands down with a scream. The force came down like a bomb. The ocean split as water splashed violently from left to right. It was terrible. Naruto stood there, taking in deep breaths, before he reached up and gripped his skull, feeling immense pain. As he dropped down to his knees and proceeded to pass out, Kakashi rushed forward, trying to stop this woman, whoever she was. However, she glanced over her shoulder and saw him before. She was gone. She was gone. Rushing towards Naruto, he checked his pulse. However, he was fine. He was just unconscious. That is when he heard something as he turned to see Sakura helping Sasuke, who was alive. It seems like he died, but he did not. He was alive, as she was helping him towards them. But they weren't alone. The entire citizen of the Land of Wave were here, backed by Gato and Iniri and Tsunami. Kakashi reached down as he picked Naruto up in his arms. As he looked down towards the young boy, he was confused. Time skip. Naruto's eyes suddenly opened up as he found himself standing in nothingness. All around him, there was nothing. It seems like he was at the edge and at the beginning at the same time. He was at the start and the end. Everything was frozen. Despite seeing nothing, he knew that everything was stopped. Everything was just that. Nothing more and nothing else. Naruto jumped out of bed as he looked around confused. He was in the house. Naruto pulled himself up as the memories of what happened came back to him. Naruto blinked as he realized something. Looking towards the wall, Naruto teleported as he appeared. He got his abilities back. What the hell? That is when he heard something. Eyes wide, Naruto ran downstairs to see Sasuke sitting at the table. Naruto was shocked. Before a word could be said, Naruto ran forward and hugged him. Naruto has come to see Sasuke as a brother. The both of them has been through some messed up crap, and that had brought them close, despite not being related by blood. He's come to see him as a brother, and he thought that he was dead. Naruto pulled back. You're alive. I thought. I'm fine, Sasuke said. As he looked at Naruto, it seems all those needles did was slow me down. But your heart, your body stopped moving. I think I can explain that. Looking over his shoulder, Kakashi was standing there. You see, the hunter needles hit Sasuke in some rather important areas, which shut his body down. Think of it as a state of hibernation, he said, as he knew that Naruto was a pretty smart kid, not having much friends or much social life. As much as he wasn't a bookworm, he knew a few things. So that is why it looked like he died, said Naruto. Kakashi nodded. Speaking of that, how the hell did you defeat the Hunter Nin by yourself? I was out like a light and left you to fight alone, Sasuke said. Sasuke wasn't someone that learned how to express his emotions a lot. Since growing up, his father was someone that did not express his emotions. While his mother was there, Sasuke always tried to act like his father. Therefore, he didn't know how to, well, show emotions that much. Naruto was a friend of his. He was a really good friend of his. As there hasn't been much people that Sasuke found himself concerned about these days after what Itachi did to him. However, over these past months since being a genin, even before that, him and Naruto had become friends. Maybe even like brothers, how they watch each other back. Naruto released a breath. It's a very, very long story, he said. I am also interested in hearing about this story as well. Because I have no explanation of what happened on that bridge. And how you did what you did, Kakashi said. Naruto decided not to tell them that he already had these abilities, while he didn't like to lie much. If they found out about him being able to read mind, to know that he knew certain things, he decided to make it seem like he just got them. Speaking of which, Lucy had taken them away. So he wasn't really lying, just avoiding the truth. I'm not sure what happened to me, said Naruto. Naruto, you're awake! As Sakura came in looking rather happy. She was happy over all that. Both of her teammates and her sensei was fine. Sasuke interrupted her though, telling her that Naruto was in the middle of telling them what happened. It's hard to explain, said Naruto. When I thought that Sasuke had died, I felt this overwhelming rage. I wanted to make the hunter name pay. The next thing I knew, I was able to move to a point wherever I see fit. Sakura tilted her head. What do you mean by that? Like this, said Naruto, as he teleported towards the door. Whoa, how did you... Even Sasuke was shocked. What the hell was that, he asked. Teleportation, Kakashi said. However, without weaving any hand sign or performing any secret techniques. That's not all, said Naruto. As he raised his hand, he focused on the lamp as the lamp started to rise. I can move things with my mind and move where I want to go by just willing my body to do so. They were rather shocked to hear that. Kakashi has never heard of anything like this before. To be able to do this without using hand signs or any secret technique. The mere fact about teleportation was, it was very rare. Yes, extremely so. And Naruto could do it just like that. It was a shocking realization. Time skip. There wasn't much else that Naruto could tell them about his abilities, so they had to be satisfied with that until they could learn more about it with Naruto returning back to the village. However, Naruto wasn't expecting for the people to mob him. Yes, but they were happy. News of his accomplishments in defeating Gato and all of his thugs came to them. The people chanted his name. Not having this much interaction or social life, having people praise him, it was rather hard to keep a straight gaze with any of them. One of them even picked him up and placed him on his shoulder as he started to yell and cheer. As Naruto watched all of them yelling his name in happiness, it was a weird sensation that he wasn't used to that he was feeling in his chest. Time skip. Returning home from the village, they named the bridge after him. He really did not know how to react to that. They named the bridge after him. Their accomplishments after him. Iniri had even cried that they were leaving, as the boys seemed different. Their time there had really changed everything. As they stood in the office, relaying to the Hokage what happened on this mission. The other two were dismissed as Naruto was told to stay behind. There he stood along with Hiruzen, as he was trying to explain what he felt when using these abilities. Hiruzen and Kakashi still didn't have the faintest idea of what exactly they were, as Hiruzen told Naruto to return tomorrow, as he would have someone here to try and give them some answers. With that, he was dismissed. Returning home after being away from his home for so long, as Naruto simply collapsed on his bed with a smile on his face. He killed people. Yes, he killed people, but he had to say, ever since losing his abilities, he's been depressed. But having them return, he feels so happy. She appeared. Naruto sensed her before she appeared. He quickly rolled off his bed. Her dirty blonde hair, her green eyes, Naruto backed up as his back hit the wall. "Stay away from me," he said, as he held his hand out to her. "Naruto, calm down," she said. "I'm not going to hurt you. The last time you were here, you stripped my powers away. How could I ever trust you?" said Naruto. Lucy sighed as she stood there. "I understand," she said, "and I knew that you would hate me for my actions, and yet I did it anyway. I know right now that I don't have your trust. I've broken that. That is why I'm here to tell you everything. If, even after what I've told you, you still want nothing to do with me, then I'll leave, and you'll never see me again. I promise." Naruto looked at her with a skeptical gaze. "Fine," he said. She stepped towards him. "Wait, what are you doing? It is much better this way. I promise." She held her hand out. "Look into my eyes. You can tell if I'm lying to you. I mean you absolutely no harm." And she was right. He could tell. She stepped towards him, but Naruto still didn't fully trust her. She held her hand out. As he placed his hand in her hand, and the link began, Naruto found himself in a dark, desolate land filled with nothing but chaos and death. As Naruto looked around, that is when he saw they were on a battlefield. Around them was nothing but chaos. Naruto saw Lucy, but she was just 10 years old. Around her was countless bodies. Nearby was someone, a young boy her age, as she was crying into his chest. That is when a man, dressed in a strange black uniform, arrived above her with a strange weapon that Naruto has never seen before. He brought it down, however. The weapon was sliced in half by someone who teleported between them. A dark-haired, dark-eyed man with a scar on his face. He elbowed the man in his face before spinning and slamming his fist into his face. As he then dropped his hand right in front of his face, the man was thrown like a rag doll. The man with the scar looked down. "I'm sorry." He grabbed Lucy and simply teleported away. What is this?" said Naruto. "This is when he found me." "Who?" Naruto said. "He goes by the name Natsu." "Those people that you see on the ground, they're my friends. That person that I was crying on top of, he was my brother. Those people that you saw, the man dressed in black, they're a part of the organization that is hunting us. I never knew my parents. My latest memory was being in an orphanage, and my brother was there with me. We weren't related by blood. However, when we met, he took care of me. He took care of all of us. We were the same age, but he was much more mature. He was a leader. He always made sure that we were fed and taken care of. We were in an orphanage located near the border of the Hidden Rain. There's a small village there. That is where I came to know as home. However, things started to get out of hand, which forced me and my friends to flee. We left, trying to find a better home, knowing that this was no longer safe. Life on the road was terrible. I can't tell you the amount of times I went to bed starving. However, every time he got food, my brother always shared it for us before thinking about himself. So we were a family. We all knew that we were special. We all possessed same traits. We could read minds. We could move things with our minds. However, we were young and inexperienced, and when we were caught, we were beaten badly for thieving. It seems like I was destined to be a part of this group. All of us had the mutation. We didn't know anything about others possessing these mutations. One day though, after returning back to where we were staying for the night, this group of people, they came out of nowhere. They tried to take us. My brother started to fight back. He was the first one that they killed. He was struck down right in front of my eyes. They killed him without hesitation the moment he started to fight back. They came after the rest of us. Some of them got killed. Some of them got captured. I was so afraid, so alone. That is when he arrived. Not to save my life that day. I was the only one that he could save. The others were already taken. That is where he told me the history of our people. Our people ranged back to times that he did not know himself. His father was the one that told him about this. His father possessing the same trait as he possessed. All we want to do was live. All we want was just to exist, but the organization that is hunting us, they don't want that. They either want to use us or they want us dead. There is no reason, no cause. They just don't want us to exist as they do. I think it's because they know we're better than them. As much as we seem human, we're an evolutionary species above their stature. And they despise us because of that. The world is a very large place. The rest of the elemental nation does not know much about what is going on. There is a select few that know about us, the people of tomorrow. However, the major villages, we've been able to fly under the radar because we mostly hid and stay away from the populace. If anyone spots our abilities, they would think that it has to do with ninjutsu. But no, we're different. We do possess chakra, however. Our abilities make us stand out more than anyone else. The scene changed as Naruto saw Lucy at this age, watching as two kids were buried. Who are they? Kids your age, Lucy said. My telepathic ability is rather strong. Whenever there's one of us that awakens, I can sense them rather easily. I brought these kids in. They were alone. They have no parents. However, the base that they were staying at was attacked. We were found once again by those monsters. And I had to be there and watch them. The lovely kids that I thought I saved, they were put in the ground right in front of my eyes. But not just them. Countless were killed. And there was nothing I could do to stop it. So that's the reason I took away your abilities. Because the moment they found out about you, the moment they sense you, they would come for you. And they would either take you and put you through hell, or they would kill you. And I'd rather you despise and hate me, rather than seeing you die. So that's it. There's a lot more, but that's the main part of my story. So if you never want to see or hear from me again, just say the word, she said. Her eyes were filled with tears as she looked at Naruto. Every single word that she said was genuine. She did not tell a single lie, and Naruto could tell that. Naruto walked up towards her as he hugged her. He just held on to her as she cried. For the longest time now, she had been trying to be strong. For the children that she watched. For taking away Naruto's abilities. She had been trying to be strong, but she never gave herself a moment to grieve, to cry. And now, she could finally release it all. They stayed like that for a couple of minutes until she wiped her tears. Sorry about that, she said. I guess it's alright, said Naruto. I can feel what you're feeling. You're trying to be strong for everyone else. It's alright. There's no need to try and put up a face here. Cry if you want, Naruto said to her. She looked at him. So does that mean... Naruto released a breath. While I didn't like what you did, I understand. I saw someone I see as a friend. I thought he died today. And when I saw that, I also lost my cool. I killed hundreds of people. They were thugs, animals, but still. I killed them. And I felt no remorse, no empathy. I actually enjoy putting them down. So if anything, I know what you're feeling, said Naruto. And now, the mere thought of that is messing with my mind. It's alright, she said. I am still here for you. It doesn't matter what you're going through. However, there's a lot that we need to discuss revolving around you awakening your abilities once again. What do you mean, said Naruto. It shouldn't be possible. What, said Naruto. What you did. A second reawakening. The moment I injected you with that drug, it was supposed to change your mutation back to the normal one. But yet your body was able to change once again. This has never happened in history before. There are still others with us that lost their ability, and they still work and live with us. But it doesn't matter if it was a traumatic or stressful situation, they have never reawakened their ability. And another thing, you stopped time. I what? You don't realize, did you? What are you talking about? You were able to freeze time, but not only that. Only our people weren't affected. That's not possible, said Naruto. Trust me, I saw it with my own eyes. You just have to remember, she said. Think back to what happened earlier. Think back to when you first felt that rage. Closing his eyes, Naruto started to rely on that memory, and it came to the surface. His eyes saw what his eyes could not process at the time. The frozen fishes, the frozen birds, the frozen trees. Naruto snapped open his eyes. What the hell? I never knew that we could do that, he said. We can't. But you can, she said. Wait, I'm the only one? Yes. I've never heard of one of us that can stop time before. What you did is not just unusual. It's truly amazing and remarkable. And I want to ask you something, she said. Ask me what? We want your help. My help? Yes. I think with this ability, we can stop this once and for all. To allow our people to live without being hunted or chased down. What do you mean? You can stop time, Naruto. Not only for yourself, but for us as well. We can move during this period, but everyone that was normal within the base, they froze. That meant you freeze everyone except for your own people. And in this process, we can finally put an end to this regime and wipe out the organization, and our people can finally be free once and for all. Why do you seem worried and upset, said Naruto. You can tell that, she said. He nodded. I'm upset because I have to ask you this. The others wanted me to ask you this, but you don't. Because I don't want you to die. I don't want to bring you into something that claims your life. I'll do it, said Naruto. What? She said. If this means saving our people, stopping them from being hunted, used and killed, I'll do it. I know that you're worried about me, but I'm a ninja now. My life is a constant threat every day. So I'll do it. Whatever you guys need to stop this once and for all. She released a breath. Thank you, she said, for being so brave. I want you to come with me. What about... Oh, Naruto brought his hand together and created a clone. A perfect copy of himself. She looked at it as she held her hand out to the original. With that, they were gone. Naruto found himself in a strange place. There wasn't much light. However, Lucy was holding on to his hand. She led him. Naruto could see movement out of the corner of his eyes as she brought him towards our underground section. He could tell. As Naruto moved through, they stopped at a door. Naruto looked at her confused. "Aren't you coming?" he said, as she simply stopped walking. "He wants to speak to you in private." "I promise. Everything's gonna be fine," she said to him. He knew that she wasn't lying to him. Naruto opened the door and stepped inside. The room was pretty plain. A table, between two chairs. A man sitting on the other side. Dark hair and dark eyes. The same scar from before. "Ah," he said with a smile. "You must be Naruto. Have a seat," he said, as he grabbed 2 cups as he poured juice. He grabbed one of them for himself as he took a sip, pushing the other towards Naruto with his mind. "I'm sure that Lucy has filled you in with just the main details of what is going on." "She has," said Naruto. "And I'm sure that she has told you that you're the only one that has ever stopped time before." "She has," said Naruto. "Well, there's something I want to ask you," he said. "Go ahead," said Naruto to him. "You killed. Is that correct?" Naruto nodded, wondering where that came from. "You want to know something? We can't kill." "What?" Naruto said. "Well, it's different now. In the earlier days, we couldn't kill until we learned how to stop it. You see, this genetic inside of us prevent us from taking another's life, to show that we weren't meant for that at all. However, we started to change it by learning, adapting, growing. A part of the brain that doesn't allow us to kill, we can shut that down. Over the years, I've shut down many because our people need to fight back to live. The problem though, every single individual has that limitation on themselves. The moment they awaken, you on the other hand, you killed without any limitation, without any problem at all, just to show how much special you are. The fact that you can stop time and the fact that you reawaken is the icing on the cake. What Lucy probably didn't tell you was the true history of this organization. They call themselves Purify. I think it's a name to show their allegiance, because they think of us as a problem. "Why?" said Naruto. "Why are they just hunting us like that?" The history stretched back to a longer time. I was told by my father that his father told him, these people, it started from a very jealous individual who wanted nothing more than to gain these abilities that we possess. However, after years of experimentations on himself, he realized that it wasn't possible. Therefore, it was simple after that. Either he controls us or he kills us. And we've been running ever since. Natsu got up as he walked over, picking up a file as he placed it on the decks. He opened the file as Naruto saw a photo. That's him. A man. He had spiky brown hair, dark eyes, dressed in a rather expensive suit from the photo, looking to be in his late 30s or early 40s. From what we were able to get, his name is Tendo. He's the leader of the organization. All of his men are trained They especially take down our kind. Over the years, they've discovered ways to limit our abilities. Technology has come a far way. And because of the constant test subject that they had, they've been able to do a lot. Even block our techniques from getting into their minds too far. It's been hard. However, know that we have you. If we were to raid their location right now, we can simply make you stop time and then end this once and for all. However, I'm not in the business of losing anyone during this raid. This whole thing is to fight and liberate all our people. And I won't allow them to die. I won't send them to their deaths. So I ask you right here and now, are you up for this? Because if you are, we're going to have to find a way to strengthen those abilities of yours and give you better control. As he looked at Naruto, the situation was heavy as Naruto sat there. If he did this, he had to do it straightforward or put many people's life in jeopardy, people like him. However, he couldn't just stand by and watch them all die, especially Lucy, even after what she did. I'll do it, said Naruto. I'm new to this, but these powers that I possess, they don't feel like a curse to me. At first, when I started to hear the voices, I thought they were a curse, but I soon realized that they were a gift. And I won't allow someone to hunt me and kill me for something that was gifted to me. So yes, I'll work with you. I'll help you as best as I can. I'll help you and your people get rid of these purifiers and stop these once and for all, so we can live without being hunted or with a constant state of fear. I'll do all I can to help. Natsu smiled. Thank you, he said. I know it's a hard ask, so thank you. As he smiled at Naruto. Time skip. Over the next couple of months, 5.5 to be quite precise, Naruto has been leaving the village at night. As he went towards the location of the underground tomorrow people, Naruto has met a lot of people. He also met Lucy Apprentice, a girl just 2 years older than him. Incredibly nice. However, she kicked his ass on several occasions, especially in Kinjutsu. They were trying to help him, to focus on his jumps, to focus on his telepathy. The problem was, Naruto was having a hard time stopping time again. An extremely hard time. It wasn't something that he could do just like that. It wasn't easy like his telepathy or his telekinesis. Stopping time was on a whole different level. While that was going on, Kakashi was training them during the day. Sometimes he got some time off to rest. However, all of the constant training was helping a lot for him to learn more control over his abilities. Learn how to harness it rather better. The problem was, he couldn't stop time at will. And that was the hard part. However, as for his training, it was coming along rather well. There was an event that was going to take place at Konoha though, the Chunin exams. While all of that was going on though, behind the scenes, to the east, where none of the great nations lie, just a small couple of villages packed together. That is where the organization was. Walking through the hall, with a file in his hand, was a man known as Tendo. Tendo was serious, his face, as he did not seem pleased at all. He finally arrived as the door opened for him. Stepping inside, he slowly made his way as he came to a stop. In front of him was a man wearing a lab coat, a scientist. I've got some great news, sir, he said. We were able to isolate the gene even further. "Show me," Tendo said, as they headed towards a room. Upon arriving towards said room, there was a monitor there. The scientist pressed the button. "Begin trial testing number 1. The screen lit up. On the right side was a boy, no older than 9. On the left was a ninja that didn't seem to reside from any village, as he seemed to be a hired gun. As he was caged, the shackles were released the moment the scientist pressed the button to begin. When he saw the boy, he looked towards him as he looked around. "Hey kid, where the hell are we?" he said. The boy held his hand out though. "What the hell is going on? What are you?" The man started to scream as he gripped his skull. He screamed and screamed and screamed until pop! His head exploded. Blood and gore sent everywhere. Tendo stood there with a smile on his face, as the young boy was told to come by another, as he followed without hesitation, as Tendo smiled, as he looked down towards a file in his hand. On said file was a photo with a name right underneath it. The photo was none other than Naruto. Yes, Naruto Uzumaki, with his name underneath it. How the hell did he get his hands on this? How the hell did he even find out about Naruto? Well, things are not as they seem. Just keep that in mind. But if you want to find out the rest, stay in tune, guys. And yes, I hope you guys enjoy. If you're looking forward to the other episode, comment down below and tell me, and I'll be posting it as soon as possible. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.